Thoth's storm, new evidence for ancient Egyptians in Ireland and by extension to Scotland. When ancient Egypt and Ireland are spoken about in the same breath, it usually results in the rolling of the eyes, polite exits, and the sound of murmurs citing pseudo-history and a New Age babble. At least that used to be the case. Not anymore. When ancient Egypt and Ireland are spoken about, now, at least that used to be the case. Recent discoveries in DNA research have added to already verified archaeological findings to present a scenario that is now more difficult to dismiss. The Hill of Tara is one of Ireland's most ancient sacred sites. It's surrounded by many other Neolithic earthworks and tombs, and although commonly associated with the Celts or the Celts, the site predates their arrival in Ireland by thousands of years. In legend, it is the place where the Tuatha de Danann reigned. These were a godlike people who were said to have arrived in Ireland in mysterious ships and had magical powers. Ritual burials and mysterious bones. During recent and very controversial excavations near Tara, a story emerged about a strange skeleton that had been found by workers digging at Lismullinhenge. Some thought it was the remains of a dog, others a badger, but most curious of all was the claim of some witnesses that the remains were in fact those of an ape. As Con Connor, Arch-Druid of Ireland's Celtic Druid temples writes, why was such a ritual burial in a royal site not cause for focused investigation? In her work, A Course of Severe and Arduous Trials, author Lynn Brunett writes that, furthermore, the Irish Masonic Order J. A. Penny notes that a skeleton of a Barbary ape had been found at Tara, the mythical centre of Ireland and seat of the High King. But why would there have been such strange bones buried at this site? These primates are not indigenous to Ireland, and the archaeological complex surrounding Tara dates back thousands of years. If bones of an ape have been found at any point, do we have a precedent for such a burial at any other of Ireland's most ancient sacred places? In fact, we do. During excavations at Einheimmacha, Navan Fort in County Armagh, the skull of a Barbary ape was found. When it was carbon dated, it was discovered to be roughly 2,500 years old. The question for any archaeologist was how it got to Ireland in the first place. But perhaps a more intriguing inquiry would investigate why. Now, the Irish-Egyptian connection. One of the more controversial theories when it comes to the origins of the Irish people is a connection to ancient Egypt. Although there are many Irish legends connecting Tara and Egyptian royalty, these have been impossible to prove. One of the most intriguing examples of these proposals was the discovery of a skeleton of a 15-year-old boy at the Mound of the Hostages near Tara by Dr. Sean O'Riordan of Trinity College. Carbon dating showed that the remains were roughly 3,800 years old. A necklace found with the skeleton was made of faience beads and matched similar Egyptian manufacture and design. Scotia, Egyptian royalty. There's also the famous legend of Queen Scotia, an Egyptian princess or queen, depending on which version of the legend you read, who was said to have arrived in Ireland in 1700 BC, that's about 3,700 years ago, and was killed by the Tuatha de Danann in a great battle. Her supposed grave is marked by a giant inscribed stone in County Kerry, and its importance has led to local politicians calling for its preservation. An interesting aside is that Scotia's grave is not far from the Isle of Skelling Michael, the site of pre-Christian settlement and later a monastery. According to the 11th century Libor Gabala Ren, Book of Invasions, Milesius, a great leader of one of Ireland's invaders, lost two of his sons nearby in 1400 BC when a magical storm caused by the Tuatha de Danann submerged their ship. Despite these legends, up until recently, there had been very little strong academic evidence linking Ireland with the lower Mediterranean. In December 2015, however, this all changed. Groundbreaking DNA findings. Scientists from Trinity College Dublin and Queen's University Belfast published new findings in the journal The Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. What they found was that the ancient Irish were not only related to the people of southern Europe, but that there was a Middle Eastern connection as well. This is new. With this new knowledge comes a tantalizing explanation for the ape skull in ancient Ireland, and which connects to a previously unexplored etymologically link to the Tuatha de Danann. Commonly, the meaning of this mysterious race has been posited as the people of Danu, a mother goddess from Irish mythology. However, the earliest recordings of the Tuatha do not include the last word Danann, instead being described as Tuatha de or Tuatha di. In fact, it is only since the 19th century that the current description of Danu was widely accepted by the scholars. Perhaps then it's time to look at these people using the new information we now have about their roots, and most importantly, the gods they worshipped and revered. One of the most important Egyptian gods was Thoth, and he claims he was an Atlantean. And I do have a playlist of the Emerald Tablets written by Thoth the Atlantean. He describes the tremendous advanced technology that they had. So one of the most important Egyptian gods, Thoth, later to be named Hermes Trismegistus by the Greeks, Thoth was a moon god who was said to have brought wisdom and writing to the world. He was often represented as symbolized by a baboon or the North African ape. Could this be a reason for ape bones found at the Irish sites? Even more curious are the overlooked etymological variants of Thoth, Thout and Tout. When we look for phonetic comparisons with Egyptian hieroglyphics, we find very apt descriptions of the Tuatha de Danann's arrival in Ireland. Tut Dea translates to Thoth's crossing. Tut Dat translates to Thoth's journey by boat. And Tut Da translates as Thoth's storm, according to Lebor Gabala et Eren. The Tuatha came to Ireland in dark clouds, quote unquote. All of these phonetic similarities are in line with the descriptions of these legendary people and how they arrived in Ireland. Another telling factor in the omission of these translations by scholars in the 19th century is that the Rosetta Stone and the decipherment of hieroglyphics by Champollion only took place in the 1820s. The early Christian monks who first recorded these stories would have had no knowledge of these phonetic translations. Indeed, most scholars of Irish mythology in the 19th century probably remained unaware of Champollion's work as well. Most believed Danann came from the Vedic goddess Danu. When we remove the more fanciful elements of myth and lore, we are still left with many unanswered questions that new scientific evidence is compelling us to ask. Some of the answers have already overturned previous academic opinion, and with each technological breakthrough we discover new means to dig further into our past. Although an ancient connection between Ireland and Egypt was once thought far-fetched and outside of the accepted scholarly realm, we now have more reason than ever to examine these links and wonder again about the Tuatha De, or possibly Thoth's storm. This was originally published on Ancient Origins, it's here under Creative Commons, by David Halpin on Collective Spark. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.